Greetings, zombies of Nindie Nation, and thanks for tuning in to the Nindie Nation podcast, your weekly one-stop shop for everything independently developed for the Nintendo Switch. I'm Jeff, and this week on episode 43, we'll review all of the new indie games releasing from October 25th through Halloween, October 31st. After that, we'll check out what's on sale over at the Nintendo eShop, and I'll tell you right now, there's a ton of scary indies ripe for the picking, so stick around for that. You can find us online by heading over to the Nindie Nation YouTube channel, our group on Facebook, or on Twitter at Nindie Nation. And for all other things Nintendo related, check out the rest of the Nintendo Village family at thenintendovillage.com for feature articles, reviews, and other weekly podcasts. Before we jump into the new releases and sales, we usually start each episode by looking at the games released without any warning the week prior, and usually they're pretty weak ports that borderline on shovelware. But this past week, of the 4 games Shadow dropped, 3 of them look surprisingly great. So let's kick off Nindie Nation episode 43 with a look at what has released since last week's episode. Fear of Traffic for $5.50, an honestly hilarious looking game that I can't wait to check out. Published by BitService and developed by Flavio Rausa, in a low-poly style, you drive a car around an open world trying to find, the exit, while avoiding obstacles, and it looks kinda like Untitled Goose Game, but with cars. I'll let the developer description tell you more. Designed to fit its sweet spot among families and infants, you will have great moments with Fear of Traffic. With its colorful world and a magical soundtrack, you will play in this game where your mission will be that of finding the way out, avoiding blocked roads, animals, odd objects in the way, and dramatic accidents with other drivers. You can even try to ramp up your score, finding hidden collectibles in every level, because it is at this time that you should really have Fear of Traffic. But really, I think the game looks great, and it's only $5.50. Developed and published by Jep Carlson, this Indie Games Festival award winner, titled 140, is a bright and trippy rhythm platformer that looks like an Atari game on crack. Similar to the PlayStation title Sound Shapes, you'll pay attention to the rhythm to time your moves. 140 is another one that I really want to check out, and it's only $4.99. What's up with all of the great titles from last week not being on our rundown? Next is The Legend of Dark Witch for $5.59. What's up with all the great titles from last week not being on our rundown in episode 42? The Legend of Dark Witch is developed by Inside System, and for less than $6, this 2D action platformer looks like something Inti Creates would make. Well, the good side of Inti Creates that makes stuff like Mighty Gun Volt Burst. In fact, it might look even better than that. I see a lot of upgrades to find, tons of abilities to learn, and a Mega Man-style level structure that is calling to me something fierce. So far, I'm 3 for 3 with the Shadow drops that I want to check out myself. Coming in to ruin a good thing, though, developed by Sabec, is not only the worst-looking game of the bunch, but also the most expensive. Tennis Go for $8.99 does not look good, so we're not going to spend much more time on it. I will say this, though, the quote, "people's faces on their artwork" is hilarious, and I don't think it's supposed to be. And with the Shadow drops out of the way, it's time to dive into a huge list of upcoming Nindies for October 25th through October 31st, which is Halloween. So put on your Halloween costumes and let's get into this week's new releases. Starting on October 25th, first on the new release is a doozy. Developed by Ice Torch Interactive and published by Ultimate Games, is Ultra Off-Road Simulator 2019. 2019 Alaska. The description makes it sound really intense, but from what I can see, it looks like you just kinda drive around the wilderness and see how far you can make it before running out of gas. Anytime I've ever seen a video of this game, it's just a Jeep stuck on a hill rocking back and forth. So Ultra Off-Road Simulator 2019 Alaska probably isn't the best place for your $19. But coming in hot from Baltoro Games is Pizza Bar Tycoon, and yep, it's the same $5 game they keep releasing in different styles of food, so there you go. Soul Searching is a super low pixel top-down survival game all about setting sail from the homeland, finding new islands, and searching for the meaning of life? Huh. The developer descriptions are some heavy shit, man. Check this out. Soul Searching is a narrative survival game where you control a lone traveler who sails from homeland to an endless sea. On the way, you'll visit different islands, discover stories of their people, and learn about souls and dragons. Outside the gameplay, the main goal is to think about your life. Soul Searching conveys feelings that rarely appear in games. It deals with themes like growing up, isolation, the search for meaning and direction. It's a personal expedition deep into your soul. So, if you're feeling like tackling all of that in a 4-bit indie game, you can search for your soul at the low price of $7.99. You know, I've been mentioning Xeodrifter a lot the last couple of weeks, and our next title has a similar pixelated space station exploring action theme. Deep Space Rush is this week's $5 Rattle-like-a game, and it looks like a good one. Deep Space Rush delivers procedurally generated levels with a similarly dynamic soundtrack. As you, a part of the team, venture between space stations to stop a virus from spreading, it looks like a fun side-scrolling, almost Metroid but action-y shooter that I'm looking forward to trying out. If you're needing a pinball fix, specifically a spooky pinball fix, Super Power Up Games has you covered. And for $8.99, you can get a collection of 3 pinball tables themed around Halloween, werewolves, and mummies. Also on October 25th is a title I've been playing for a while now from Dragius Games. Pixel Gladiator is only $3.49 this week, and it's okay, but it would be a lot more fun if there were just a few tweaks to the controls. Basically, it's tower defense, but you're in the middle of a side-scrolling plane with monsters coming at you from both sides. So it has cool upgrades and abilities, and you build walls around your base and try to stop all the enemies from getting to the middle, with tons of levels and waves to tackle, and that part of it's really fun, but they made some really bad decisions around the button placement and forcing the analog stick instead of the D-pad that really stopped me from getting into it. If they update this game and fix a couple of those simple things, Pixel Gladiator would definitely be a cheap Dragius game I could recommend. Right now, though, it's kinda hard to recommend. Our next game is a party game, and may I just say, indie developers, you have got to learn how to explain your party games. I'm looking at this title, right? Party Treats, which is brought to us by Digital Melody and comprised of people responsible for Timberman vs. and Astro Bears, which are 2 other games that I've never really seen explained well by their developers. Party Treats could be fun, but other than seeing a colorful world with 4 players running around and some kind of hungry hippo character chomping away at the level, I can't tell you what to expect. Regardless, Party Treats is only $1.99, and it comes from a decent pedigree of party games, so maybe it's worth taking a chance on. Our next release for October 25th is probably the title that, to me, looks most promising from the wave of Halloween indie games we're getting. Ringing the cash register at $34.99 is Into the Dead 2, a first-person zombie shooter developed by Pickpock. What appeals to me about this game is the weapons, everything from saw blade guns and pulse rifles to the old traditional sawed-off shotgun. You have a lot of cool artillery at your disposal. Into the Dead 2 has over 25 weapons, each with multiple boosts to pick up. With a deep story, tons of side quests, and animal companions that can join you on your journey, Into the Dead 2 looks like an indie game full to the brim with stuff to do. And it is one of those games that makes you wonder how they got it to run on the Switch because of its graphical fidelity. Furthermore, if you're looking for even more to do in this game, there are a couple of add-on packs you can buy which bring Ghostbusters and Night of the Living Dead into the world. I think if you're still looking for the spooky game to get you into the Halloween mood, Into the Dead 2 looks great, and even though the $35 price tag is high, the quality and sheer amount of content in the game seems to more than justify its price. Skipping ahead to October 28th, we get a 16-bit port/remaster by Bitmap Bureau called Xeno Crisis. Now, I'm not familiar with the original game, but this two-player twin-stick shooter looks like a blast from the past. The pixel art is superb, the soundtrack contains some awesome pixel tunes, and with a $19.99 price, Xeno Crisis looks like a mix of Smash TV and Contra in all the best ways. The other game releasing on October 28th is a retro side-scroller with online or couch co-op called Door Kickers Action Squad. Developed by Kill House Games, Door Kickers has you roaming pseudo-open 2D worlds while you combat enemies and seek out hostages to rescue, and similar to Xeno Crisis before it, the pixel art in Door Kickers calls back to the 16-bit era and looks liquid smooth when in motion. If a top-down action game isn't quite what you're looking for, but you still want to blow up a bunch of stuff with a friend in a retro-styled action game, Door Kickers Action Squad is an easy recommendation for $14.99. Just a couple of days before Halloween, on October 29th, Spicy Gyro Games, or I wonder if it's Spicy Euro Games, and Shiny Dolphin Games team up to deliver Polyroll for $10. In Polyroll, you'll platform your way through over 30 levels and battle over 11 bosses in a style very reminiscent of the earliest Sega Genesis games, like Alex Kidd or Kid Chameleon. I don't think Polyroll is going to change anybody's life, kind of like soul searching, but it should give you a good 5 to 10 hours of classic 2D platforming for a price that is low enough to take a chance on. Dusk Diver is a cel-shaded anime action RPG in the vein of a Dynasty Warriors or that Musou genre as it's called. Dusk Divers is developed by JFI Games and published by P-Cube for $40, complete with a Japanese neon culture vibe and non-stop action built around a dynamic action combat system, whatever that means. Looks a lot like a Persona game to me. Also, on October 29th, Nimble brings us a multiplayer first-person shooter that really tugs on my nostalgia with Earthfall: Alien Horde. It's the kind of shooter where you're given tons of cool weapons, plenty of ammo, and then you're thrown into a big map against massive hordes of enemies to see who can outlast who, almost like a Serious Sam game. Earthfall is $20 and should deliver plenty of fun if you're looking to have a few friends over and see how long you can outlast the alien horde. On October 30th, I think I am going to have to shell out $13.49 to pick up Spaceland, a traditional turn-based strategy game with a cool visual style. I don't really know what you'd call it, but if you can picture games like Team Fortress, it's kind of like that, like rounded edges, low color count, but it's really vivid. It's like that, but in a turn-based, top-down perspective. The publisher, IATA Games, has brought a handful of titles to the Switch recently, mostly PC ports that were well-received but a bit older, and this seems to be no exception. Developed by Tortuga Team. If you're a fan of sci-fi strategy games like XCOM or even similar games in the genre like Final Fantasy Tactics or Fire Emblem, I'm loving everything I'm seeing of Spaceland, and this looks like it could be an easy decision when it launches for $13.49. And now, here we are, Halloween. October 31st has arrived, and oddly enough, there's only one spooky game actually releasing on Halloween. Probably assuming everybody's already picked their horror game before then, or maybe they just don't want to compete with Luigi's Mansion, which also launches that day. Either way, our first title for October 31st is Agony by Forever Entertainment, the masters of mediocrity. Agony is a first-person survival horror game set in hell, and if that doesn't fit the bill for Halloween, I don't know what does. The description claims to have a story mode and a bunch of challenges, but even at the asking price of $17.99, I still can't really tell what this game is about, other than being a walking simulator in hell. Walking simulator in hell. That sounds like an awesome name for a metal album. Next up is a game that looks like absolute garbage. Published by Big Boy Studios for $9 flat. Hang in there with me. Otokumizu? Anyways, it's a terrible looking game where you control an almost completely naked dude who flies around villages putting out fires. I don't even know how he gets water. Maybe I shouldn't ask how he puts them out. Everything about this game looks terrible. I am gonna bet they don't have a trailer available, but if they do, this one alone might be worth checking out the video podcast over on the Nindie Nation YouTube channel, just so you can see what I'm seeing. And if you want to spend Halloween playing something as polar opposite of a horror game as possible, you can't go wrong with the cute as a button $3 game, The Big Journey by Constructors Entertainment. That's Constructors with a K. You tilt the world around with your Switch or Joy-Cons to navigate an adorable circular cat thing through all kinds of colorful, hand-drawn, nonsensical levels, and the whole thing looks a lot like the PS3 game Loco Roco. I think it was also on the PSP as well. You roll around, get over obstacles, collect all the things, and listen to the super happy soundtrack by Choconauts in The Big Journey. Landing on the eShop with a $10 thud is Anila Game Studios' Flan. Flan looks like an unremarkable game about controlling two characters at the same time through puzzles and simple battles. The description is great. Operate two people at the same time. Action game to think about each other? When the girl woke up, a dark and cold place spread out. Oh, dang. As the girl advances, she meets a frozen black knight. Together, you can come to the truth. A fantastic view of the world like a picture book and beautiful 3D graphics. And please enjoy the beautiful sound that stirs your imagination and listens to you. Wait, what? The game's listening to me? Wait, anyways, enjoy from beginners to core users. Finished in-game balance. Action game beginners can easily and happily play. Even if you do, you can start over from that stage. It is a game that you can play without reading the letters. Who says that? Since there is a collection element, there is also an exchange element after clearing. Wow. We've been getting a lot of these Google Translate descriptions recently. I think it's safe to assume Nintendo doesn't have anyone looking over these. Warm up your fingers, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. You're about to enter the depths of Yuri's world. Yuri is a hand-drawn 2D puzzle platformer, and that was a quote from the title of the game. Yuri has a lot of unique traversal mechanics and a serene and simple presentation. Yuri hits the eShop thanks to developer Finger Lab and doesn't look half bad, but at $9.79 it's hard to recommend without getting my own fingers on it first. Wait. There sure are a lot of finger references. What's up with that? It's been a while since we've had a decent World War II dogfighting game, so if you're in the mood to fly around and shoot down other planes, Atypical Games has you covered. Sky Gamblers Storm Raiders 2 looks surprisingly polished for a $20 Nindie and brings a bunch of different modes, locations, and customizable planes so you can end World War II on your terms. And finally, for $7 and developed by Arc System Works, we get a 2D ninja action game with hand-drawn graphics that I am all about with Mononoke Slashdown. Now, I love games by Vanillaware, such as Odin Sphere and Muramasa, but unfortunately, we haven't seen any of their games on a Nintendo platform in nearly a decade. I doubt that Mononoke Slashdown meets the pristine quality of a Vanillaware offering, but for $7, this game walks the walk and I am definitely in the mood for some crazy combo building action. I'll probably pick this one up and report back. See, citizens, I told you this was a great week. I think we only had 3 or 4 pieces of shovelware, and almost all of them delivered some good comedic content, so I'll take it. We've also got a nice variety of all kinds of games, from zombie shooters, 2D tower defense, whatever you call Fear of Traffic, and plenty of multiplayer options to keep you busy while you and your friends chow down on trick-or-treat candy. Let me know what you're picking up on Twitter at Nindie Nation, or talk about it with us over on the Nindie Nation Facebook page. And if you're looking for some deals, there are currently 405 discounted games on the eShop, with 218 of them added just this week. So let's see what's worth your eShop gold. Most of the games mentioned this week are still on sale through November 1st. Swords of Ditto, Grease, the Atui games. In fact, there are over 200 deals expiring on November 1st. So while the pickings are a bit slim this week, next week should be a brand new batch of fresh deals. However, we do have a lot of great deals on spooky games, so we'll start with those first, in the spirit of things. The horror pinball bundle that I mentioned earlier is $4.94, which is a 45% discount. Son of a Witch is $6.99 with a 53% discount. Stranger Things 3 is half off for only $10 and is a pretty decent retelling of the most recent season in a retro action RPG beat-em-up style. It's a cool little hybrid genre they made up. The Amnesia Collection, one of the scarier run-and-hide spooky games, is 35% off for $19.49. And that new hack-and-slash game with a crazy dark premise, Blasphemous, has been getting a ton of buzz. Not a huge sale, but it's 20% off for only $19.99. And the Outlast Bundle of Terror, the original run-and-hide first-person spooky games, is 70% off, $7.49 for both of them. A little more light-hearted spooky game, Flipping Death, a really fun puzzle platformer action game, is 70% off for $5.99, and Layers of Fear is 80% off for $3.99. So there you go, there's plenty of content to help you pee your pants. But if you're not looking for spooky games, there's still plenty on sale. Nidhogg 2 is an awesome multiplayer side-scrolling fighter-type game that's 60% off for $6. Die for Valhalla is a fun Viking arcade beat-em-up game that's half off for $6, totally worth it for that price. Oceanhorn, the ripoff of classic top-down Zelda games that was pretty well received, is 33% off for $10. Startide, the game that I featured in our What We're Playing Nindies video a couple of weeks back, is 90% off for 99 cents, and I do recommend that game. It's wonky, but it's a fun shmup. And the SteamWorld games are back on sale. They've been doing that a lot recently. SteamWorld Dig 1 is $3, SteamWorld Dig 2 is $10, and SteamWorld Heist is $6. I think everyone should have SteamWorld Dig 2. It is one of the best Nindies available, and half off is a great price for it. If you haven't played the first one, I would say skip it and go right to the second. And finally, Xenon Valkyrie Plus, a really fun but really hard action roguelike side-scroller game, is 33% off for $6.69. I will warn that I think I only paid $1 or $2 for it, but I do really enjoy it. So, if you got the funds, pick it up. Maybe wait for a better sale on it in the future, though, if you are pinching pennies like I am. And that's it for the noteworthy Nindies this week. Let me know what you're picking up, and if you want to see videos of these games, go check out the Nindie Nation YouTube channel, where you can see a video version of each podcast episode, usually posting on Monday or Tuesday following the audio version, which I try to publish on Saturday. Apologize for the delays this week. I was fighting with YouTube, with the video not publishing for 3 days, so it was super late, and there was nothing I could do to fix it, and then it just kind of fixed itself. So, computers, right? But while you're out there on the Nindie Nation YouTube channel, check out the new Let's Play for Ape Out, some of the We Love Nindies series, and be on the lookout for a new Let's Play in the next week. I know you know this, but we're brought to you by the Nintendo Village, and they are killing it over at the nintendovillage.com with tons of new articles, features, and previews from the EGX London convention last week. So if you're in the mood for more Nintendo stuff besides the indie games, go check them out on YouTube, Twitter, or the nintendovillage.com. As always, thanks so much for listening this week, and especially for sharing with your friends, sending me your feedback, or chatting with us on Twitter at Nindie Nation. When we talk next week, we'll be right on the other side of a massive Halloween Nindie sale, so we should have a ton of new deals to talk about. Looking forward to chatting with you then about everything independently developed for the Nintendo Switch. Until then, I'm Jeff. This has been Nindie Nation episode 43, and you should have plenty of great options to play over the next week to keep your Joy-Cons synced.